One of the games that caught my eye whilst detailing the upcoming games in our Saturday video last week was Dredge, a mix of job simulation following the life of a fisherman with a strong cosmic horror vibe as something unfathomable lurks under the surface. It's just released on the Nintendo Switch. Is this one a keeper, or should you toss this back into the tentacle infested seas? Well, thank you to Team 17 for the review code, and now let's find out. The story begins with a fisherman sailing to the island of Greater Marrow to begin a new job. On approaching the dock late at night, he hits into the rocks just below the lighthouse and wakes up in the town in the presence of the mayor. He explains that the fisherman's boat has been destroyed, but they will lend him one so that he can begin his job, with a cut of his profits being taken to pay for it. With everything agreed, the mayor gives one more piece of advice before leaving, and that is to not stay out after nightfall. So boiling down the gameplay in Dredge to its most basic form, you will fulfill your role as a fisherman during daily cycles. You can depart the port of Greater Marrow in the morning and then sail the sea looking for fish hotspots. Interacting with these points will take you to a minigame where success will allow you to reel in the fish, and you can then add them to your inventory, making best use of the space by fitting the fish in as tightly as possible. Time will pass as you fish, and you should heed the mayor's warning and get back to port before nightfall, where you can then sell your haul to the local fishmonger before resting and going again the next day. As I said, this is the core loop that runs through the game, but there is a lot more to it than this. First of all, you will not be able to catch some of the fish with your starting equipment, or be able to dredge, which allows you to plunder sunken ships, or even see in the dark without equipping your boat with lights. To be able to do this, you'll need to use the money earned to purchase new gear or upgrade the equipment you have through either the shipwright or the dry docks once you unlock this, and you'll also need to find sufficient materials scattered about the bays or by using the aforementioned dredging technique once available. In order to be able to purchase the really good stuff though, you'll need to unlock it through the research tree, using the research points you either find as part of a haul or are given for completing quests for the townspeople. You see, there are a number of islands scattered around, and at times you'll be sent to deliver items to these and you'll begin to meet the locals. Occasionally they will request your help. It could be that they need a certain catchment of fish, need materials in order to build a new structure, or want you to begin to delve deeper into the mysterious goings on around the place by finding strange artifacts, and this is where you'll need to start staying out later and face the night, as some of these items can only be found at these times. Carrying out these sort of missions is where you'll really start to push the story along. Nightfall officially begins at 6 PM, although it can take a couple of hours for the world to be enveloped in a thick black curtain, and at this point things can take a very peculiar and quite sinister turn. Your field of vision is obviously impeded, and this will start to cause your character to panic, shown by this eye at the top of the screen, and soon enough strange things will start to appear. You could be attacked by unknown forces, rocks could appear in your path out of nowhere, and the world just gives off a very disorienting hue that unsettles you as a player. The biggest compliment I can pay Dredge is that its shift to nightfall is incredibly effective. You feel the sense of anxiety as you suddenly struggle to make out your route, with rocks constantly appearing in front of you, forcing you to change course and under the constant threat of attack from whatever lurks under the surface. I've had times where I genuinely could not find my way back to port, and have either had to see the night out, staying as close to the limited light as possible, or have docked at another town until dawn. When you do undock to return home the next morning, you realise it's basically a straight line just across the way, and it really does just ram home the idea of how panic can affect your poise and decision making. Very effective game design, and a lot of this is down to the H.P. Lovecraft trope of keeping what is indescribable hidden and allowing your imagination to run wild. Again, another very clever choice. There are more mechanics at play. Finding books and equipping them will see your character read them whilst out at sea. Filling a completion bar whenever the boat is moving, and reaching 100% will unlock a perk or skill. You have an encyclopedia to fill by catching each breed of fish, again with some of the more unusual ones, shall we say, only appearing at night, and you can piece together the mysteries of the town by finding messages in bottles. There are a few negatives. The map is a little basic and could really have done with being a bit more interactive, and the days do tick along very quickly, which I feel was an intentional choice to have nightfall roll around and catch you unawares, but time could have moved a little slower with the same effect being achieved in my opinion. In terms of controls, whilst they are perfectly serviceable, they do take a little getting used to, mainly down to a strong use of the Y button for commands that muscle memory will want you to press A for. Also, navigating the menus can be a little cumbersome, and sometimes text overlays can get in the way of the task you are trying to complete. Overall though, it's a very strong and compelling loop which kept me hooked, no pun intended, with the eerie Lovecraftian vibe complementing the gameplay style wonderfully. Gameplay scores 17 out of 20. Controls do take some getting used to, but this will occur quickly enough, and they get 16 out of 20. In terms of the visuals, Dredge uses a hybrid style of low poly environments with character portraits that almost have an oil painted look to them. It's a very effective artistic choice which helps to build a beautiful world which almost has a sadness hidden behind it. Seeing the sun rise in the mornings as you leave port is only matched in its majesty by the stormy nights you'll experience with lightning crackling through the sky. Both a beautiful display of nature's unpredictability. I mentioned the nights and just how effective they are, and this is achieved through the use of strong reds and purples against the black sky. These neon colours almost bleed into the dark, giving off an eerie glow that perfectly encapsulates the cosmic horror the developers were striving for. Performance wise, things ran well for the most part, perhaps a little slowed down when leaving the docks, but nothing that affects the gameplay, and there is a mode in the options which allows you to turn off surface reflections to improve performance should you wish. The music has a serene quality to it that is almost equalled by an eerie, ominous tone, almost serving as an audio metaphor for the beauty of the sea's surface, hiding something unfathomable underneath. It doesn't play as much during the night, which on the one hand works quite well, allowing for the ambience to come to the fore, but perhaps a little more here would have just ramped up the anxiety levels. Either way, what's here does a very good job. Visuals are unique and colour is used very well to bring the days and nights to life. They get 18 out of 20. Audio is also very strong, being understated but effective, and gets 17 out of 20. Dredge costs £21.99 and regional equivalents are on your screen now. Whilst this is perhaps a tad expensive, considering the relatively repetitive gameplay loop, once the further layers start to show, you realise that there's more than initially meets the eye. Plus, I have to say that the setting and general tone is just quite unique in an era of cookie cutter style games. It won't be for everyone, but thankfully there is a demo that you can try first, but for me, value gets 17 out of 20. To conclude, Dredge takes a simple premise based around a repetitive gameplay idea and builds a mysterious and eerie world around it. The early days of catching a few cod and being back by 6 may seem a little mundane, but as the town asks more of you and you begin to venture into the night, it becomes something else entirely. Upgrading your boat to be able to venture further out, which really does begin to allow the story to flourish, is where you'll really start to see the game at its best. The horror genre in gaming has seen a shift away from the overpopulation of zombie antagonists towards Lovecraft-inspired cosmic horror in recent years, and I've played my fair share. None of them though get that feeling of the unfathomable as right as Dredge. Dredge gets a switch up score of 85%. Thank you everybody for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do remember to leave a like if you did. Don't forget, if you are looking for eShop credit to pick this game up or any other game for that matter, you can do so via our website switchup.gg. There is currently a 5% discount available on your eShop cards if you use the code SWITCHUP. There's also a link down there to Play Asia if you're looking to import any games. Use the link down there, use the code stated, and you can get yourself 5% off of an order from there too. A quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members of course for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.